Hi everyone, it's Rebecca here and welcome to my video on children and chores. First of all, we're going to start discussing why it's important for children to learn to clean and tidy from a young age. So we'll start that off with responsibility. Responsibility in the house, cleaning, taking the rubbish out, does give children a sense of pride. It may be difficult to implement in the beginning, but long term they will start to feel proud of these little things that they do. Respect for their own items and other people's. So teaching children how to clean and tidy up after themselves will teach them how to be respectful for their own items, not just now in life, but when they grow up and also when they go around other people's houses. It will teach them to help the other child, to clean up any toys, and to also, if they have eaten or they've had a packet of crisps, not just to put it down or to leave it on the side, but to actually take it to the bin. So we're talking just about these little things all the way up to these big things. Starting young implements it into their life. So if you start something and you carry on doing it, it then becomes the norm. So it then is less of a challenge to implement it when they're 10, 11 years old, rather than start them helping and age appropriate chores from when they are 2, 3, 4 years old. I also must discuss as well that, there is influencing factors as why two children are going to be able to do different chores. And we will discuss that later on in the video. Another reason is you don't want to deny them the opportunity to learn. Often I do see parents saying, oh no, you're too young for this, you can't do this, oh it's easier without you. Actually, you're denying them that right. So then when you do ask them to do something, they may see it in a negative light because you didn't actually want their help in the first place, okay? So it's really important that if your children do ask to get involved, that you allow to do that in a safe way. Obviously, if it's something quite dangerous, then don't allow your children to do it. Okay? It's really important as well to teach both genders that chores are equal. There's this stigma that has been around for many, many years and not so much anymore, but I do still see it in 2020. And it's where children are taught that men take out the bins and do them kind of household things in the garden and trimming the bushes down, and that women do the dishes and cook the dinner and do the sweeping. And sadly I still do see that. So again, when you are teaching children the to look after things and clean up after themselves and to do these chores, it's important to make that equal. Okay. Next, I'm going to talk about the impact that it can have later on in life. We all know there's a few people that we must know in our personal lives or growing up that can't clean or look after themselves, or they simply don't want to. That can be for various different reasons, and that's a whole next story to go into. But there is a small majority of people that, because they weren't taught as a young person, they now don't know how to do it as they're older. There's other important things such as knowing what products to use in what appliances. So you wouldn't just go put in bleach in an oven, you would need oven cleaner. So again, as children grow into young people and they are allowed to use chemicals to clean things, you start to teach this. You don't want your children suddenly leaving home, going to live in university accommodation and cleaning out the oven with bleach, or not knowing how to use a washing machine. So there's so many things that if you don't teach them when they're young, they may struggle or find that difficult when they are older or leaving home. If somebody is lucky enough to have a cleaner, then that's great, but not everybody is. So it's important regardless to learn from a young age to clean up after yourself, help around the house, and generally just have that responsibility of their own chores. Okay? It can also cause problems with friendships and relationships. So again, if they move in with people and they aren't used to cleaning up after themselves or taking the bins out, it can then cause a complication in the relationship as well. So there's other things to look at, that how this can impact them later on in life. Age appropriate chores. So when we talk about age-appropriate chores, I also want to just throw in there about different people's abilities, because we have to take into consideration that children can have a SEND, and that's important to understand that their what they can do may be different to what another person can do, but that is going to be the same with all children and young people, regardless of their ability. Everything is going to be each to their own children. So after this, there'll be a document stating what age appropriate chores are, but that doesn't mean that your child can do that, and if they don't do that or they physically can't, that there's something wrong. Okay, just do what you think is best for your children. What's important is that they are actually doing something, that you are actually nurturing them to learn these little things. And if they do find it more of a challenge to wash dishes, or they dislike dust, then there's ways to expose them and nurture them to learn how to cope with that. Again, for another video. Okay, support and guidance. So often I will see parents saying, go and clean your room. Now, if you look at a bedroom, how many different aspects is there for a bedroom? So if I say to my children, go and clean your room, it's going to be bring down the dishes, tidy up your wardrobe, sweep your floor or hoover it, maybe give it a dust down, mop out, okay? It's going to be different for every bedroom, okay? But that's a lot of things to go and ask one person to go and do. So my advice around that would be to break it down. You could just try strategies such as doing an actual bedroom list so they know what to do. You can give them a timer, a time limit to do it, or more to the point, if you have never gone and shown your child how to sort a wardrobe out, how do you expect them to know how to do it? So I can't stress the support and guidance enough. Some children will struggle to just go and do that mass of cleaning all in one. They can't process things just like we can as adults. And even myself, if I have the whole house to give a good spring clean, or I'm going to tidy out a bedroom, I write down a list and I can tick that off. And they need breaks. Don't send them to their room for an hour, 2 hours to go and clean, because that's just going to give cleaning a negative name in their head. And every time you say, oh, go and clean, it's going to be like, okay? So try and relate to how you also felt as a young person. I didn't really like being told to go and do this and that, but I also was encouraged, and our mum did help us to tidy up, and then we would help her as well. So teaching children how to fold clothes, teaching them how to actually wash a dish and which way you place the dish down, okay? Don't then shout at a child, you did that wrong. You can't expect a child to do the same standard that a 30, 40-year-old adult can. A 4-year-old just can't do that. So have a lower expectation, have a higher expectation that you want your children to achieve, and in hope that they'll be as great as you one day, you know, and how well you can clean down the glass table. But you have to think that they are still younger than you and they are just learning. Okay, next. Another thing I will talk about as well is adolescents and them studying their GCSEs. You don't want children, and this is could be for any child at school. I'm not saying that your children need to be doing loads of things every single night. Again, it's to the individual child, to the individual family and parent, and what you do is up to you. It's just important they do something. So you don't want that child coming home and they have to do the hoovering, but actually if they've got a piece of artwork, and art is what they want to do in the future, don't dominate their life with doing things, okay? It's about having a balance, so weigh that all out. And also when you're asking children to do the chores or you're planning a rota, sit down as a family and do that together, have an input, let them know that their voice is being heard, okay? Because they might actually say, well, I prefer to do the dusting, and another one might say, and I prefer to wash the dishes, okay? Okay, so routine, rules and rewards. There's so many ways that you can implement positive strategies into cleaning, okay? Again, there's lots of different ideas on Google's. I will brief a few now. You could set up just a chart, okay? It could be one that they have stickers for. It could be one that they could get paid for each chore. So it could be hoovering equals 20p, or, you know, cleaning, doing the dishes could equal 25p. So each time they do them things, they then tick that off and they get that money. Some people prefer to use incentives like a jar that has beads in it. So each time they do something, it's worth a certain amount of beads. And when the jar is full up with beads, they can go to, say, Legoland or a nice picnic in the park, or just something that they enjoy to do. Another way to implement it is maybe if they spend a lot of time on their computer, you could use their cleaning and what they do as, okay, you can have X amount of time on your computer in the evening. And so it's not bribery, it's giving positive reinforcement, okay? And it's also showing them that when you do things, you can earn something, it's actually good, and there's positive feedback. Praise, please, please, please praise your children for doing anything big or small. If they've washed a pan out for the first time and it's spotless, give them praise for that. It makes them feel that they're doing good in these things. I like to say to my children, you've done good things. Mine, they do like to get involved with the cleaning because they get a bit of in return, but I'm showing them that actually if you do these things freely without being asked, there's a chart. Once you've done it and it's been inspected, you can tick that off and it all adds up. And they've started to realise that the more they do, not that they do loads and loads all the time, but the more that they do, they are getting things and they can buy these little things that they want for themselves. So please look out for my following posts. I will write this all up and it will be in a document that people can access. If anybody has any questions or queries, please feel free to inbox me, and look out for some of our chore charts that you can purchase and personalise. Thank you.